Hello. Today's topic I'm going to cover is going to be professional sports. And I got the idea for today's video subject from just watching a brief clip of Seattle Seahawks defensive back Richard Sherman and some of his complaints against what he feels are hypocritical policies of the NFL. So I'm going to play you that short clip right now, and then I'll come back. Okay, so here it is.
As you guys can see, I brought my guy, Doug Baldwin, with me today. You always want to share with your teammates, share your success. So I'm taking any questions.
What about the busy offseason that you've had?
Oh, man, it's been incredible. It's been incredible. You know, we've done a lot of things. We've got a lot of things. You know, the other day, Marshawn Lynch got fined $100,000. Did you know that? $100,000. And it's like, they wouldn't even paid him $100,000 if he had talked. If he had spoken. Do you think they would have paid him $100,000?
No, they sure wouldn't have.
Jeez Louise. But you know who does pay me a lot of money? Beats by Dre, the wonderful headphones that I wear.
I like those headphones.
They think, but the league doesn't let me say anything about them. Doug, why is that?
I don't know. Sounds kind of hypocritical to me.
Yeah, it sounds a little bit hypocritical. It seems like we're in a league where they say, players, you know, you don't endorse any alcohol. Please don't endorse alcohol. No DUIs, please. But yet, a beer sponsor is their biggest sponsor. Doug, how do you feel about that?
Like I said, sounds very hypocritical.
Yeah, it's interesting. It's very, very interesting. It's crazy, but you know, in this off season, you have a good time. You know, you get to wear Neff shades, you get to wear Neff beanies, you get to eat some Campbell soup. My girl was sick this week; she got some Campbell soup in her, and you know that's always good. So kids, when you get sick, make sure you get your Campbell soup in you. It's always a great deal. Very, very healthy, very good for you. Chicken noodle soup around this time, it's flu season.
Speaking of health, how do you feel about the NFL making you play 2 games in 5 days?
Oh my God! Jeez, I almost didn't realize that because they've been talking about player safety so much, and it's like 2 games in 5 days doesn't seem like you care about player safety, but it's, you know, it's a little bit much for me. But Doug, you look pretty healthy. You look like you're having a good time. You look like you've been eating good. What kind of sandwiches have you been having?
You know, I like to eat fresh, so I eat my Subway, and then I also love to wash my Subway down with a bottle of Martinelli's.
Oh my God, Martinelli's!
Yeah.
Sounds like a great beverage. It's fun, you know. It's fun to use your time in the NFL to speak about something you care about, right? Right? Because then you don't get fined $100,000. You don't get fined at all for this. This is how they want us to talk, right? This is what they want us to do. They want us to advertise, right, Doug?
Sounds about right to me.
All right. Got to make some money. Got to not get fined. Anybody got any questions?
Nope, I don't think so.
All right.
Have a good day.
Thank you.
So I don't think I have to reiterate much of that video clip, but you may be wondering why he had a cardboard cutout of one of his teammates, and it's because the running back for the Seattle Seahawks, Marshawn Lynch, the NFL has fined NFL officials, Roger Goodell, who's a commissioner, and others, fined Marshawn Lynch, who's a running back and teammate of Richard Sherman, for refusing to speak to the media. So, which I think is kind of ridiculous, because you wonder, why is professional sports, the policies, able to supersede actually the laws of the Constitution, right? So you could plead the fifth, you know, in a trial and refuse to speak to incriminate yourself, but yet in the NFL, if you don't want to speak to the media, you will be fined. So think about that for a second. Why are professional sports leagues able to supersede the law of the land, the rule of law, with their own policies? That also happened in the NBA, because as a lot of you know, with billionaire owner Mark Cuban of the Dallas Mavericks, a lot of times he would be critical of officiating and he would get fined. I believe all his fines have amounted into the millions of dollars. So how can you be fined for basically exercising your freedom of speech? I mean, the NBA is just fining these people because they don't like what they're saying, because it's not good for the money-making and profitability of these organizations to have their owners be critical of the employees that they employ to run that organization. But there's nothing that they're saying that is profane. There's nothing that they're saying that is even untrue. in a lot of aspects. Like what Richard Sherman said, everything is true. What Mark Cuban has said against poor officiating in the past has been true. So how can you be fined for just exercising your freedom of speech? Again, any logical person would think about this because that is against the rule of law of the U.S. Constitution. And when you think about it, some people will say, oh, well, it's within their contracts. It's in the contracts. The owners can't say anything negative against the league, or it's in the players' contracts where they have to attend media events and they have to speak to the press. So it's okay to fine them. That is ludicrous, because what if you put in the contracts, it's the rule of law that should supersede any policy of any corporation. So what if you signed a contract with a bank and they said, oh, you're allowed to murder or you must murder one person a week, or you must murder anyone that speaks out and exposes our criminality. So because it's in that contract, then it's okay? Like, those arguments are so shallow that people make in support of these tyrannical policies that organizations run. So why is it? Why are these organizations allowed to get away with it? Why does not a judge strike down that law? And they say, oh, it's a private organization. They're able to do whatever they want. Well, these organizations like the NFL, the PGA, the NFL are non-profit organizations. That's right. They're not non-profit charities, which is a 501c3 designation, but they're non-profit trade organizations, which is a 501c6 designation. Now, they have to file certain tax forms, so we know, because there was a professor of law at a university that looked at these tax forms and said the NFL is making a tremendous amount of money from licensing and royalties that they're paying zero taxes on because of this non-profit designation, which is ridiculous, because, and that applies to the PGA, Professional Golfers Association, and also the NHL, the National Hockey Association. So why is it? Why are these companies allowed to get away with making tons of money and not paying any taxes on it, on their profits? Again, I think it just comes down to what is the role that these leagues are playing that help the elite, or the the New World Order, if that's how you want to put it. It's because it serves as a distraction. I've made videos in the past where I've said professional sports today serve the same role as gladiator games did in the times of the Roman Empire. So whenever the Roman Empire was struggling economically, the people were getting restless, then the emperors would just put on gladiator games. And that's a way to distract the masses from the reality of the terrible leadership. And that is going on today too, because you see economies struggling in every region of the world, in Asia, in South America, in Africa, in the Americas, in Europe. And so, one thing that the leaders of these countries and this, military-industrial complex and the banking government complex is always going to do is to figure out ways to keep people dumb and distracted. And if you just go to ESPN.com and look at the arguments people have over their favorite athletes, and they defend them like they're their father or their brother or their direct family members, they get so passionate about it. And yet these are the same people that don't care that a lot of these global banks have less than 1% of your deposits on hand, and all it takes is a loss of confidence, and they'll go down in a ball of flames, and you lose all your money, and you have no recourse because you don't even realize your deposits are basically the bank's asset and your liability. So they keep you distracted from understanding the truth of the global monetary system and just sports. And so, you don't understand anything about what is truly important, what truly makes an impact on the quality of your life. So whether your favorite team wins or loses, does that really affect your quality of life? I mean, for some people, I guess if they're super fans, maybe it will. But it's kind of ludicrous, in my opinion, that they put so much emotional investment on whether their favorite player performs well, their favorite team plays well, when these people don't even know who they are, don't give a damn about their lives and the organizations that run, like the NFL, the NBA. They don't care about you as a fan, other than the fact that you are just feeding their money machine. That's the only thing that they care about. So in the end, when we look at the fact that the freedom of speech does not apply to these organizations, these sports organizations, because they're serving a purpose to the leaders in power as far as distracting people, keeping people dumb, keeping people like zombies. You know, the fact that they're able to claim tax-exempt status, which is ridiculous. You know, we look at the fact that, you know, you can extend that into the whole legal system, because the majority of laws are just concerned with keeping the status quo, meaning keeping those in power from being, you know, overthrown, or just maintaining the power structure that is in place today. And a lot of law and a lot of the legal system has zero to actually do with morality when you really examine the legal system. So that's how HSBC can launder tens of billions of drug money and no one goes to jail, because law is not interested today, because it's set up by those that have the most money in your countries to keep those people in power and out of jail. And so it's not concerned with putting these people in jail. It's really just concerned with keeping them in power. And that's one thing a lot of people have to realize about the legal system in your country, that most of it is not really concerned about morality. It's concerned about keeping the status quo, period. And anything to upset that status quo then will become legal, even if it's immoral. So you got to be able to separate and look. One thing that's spoken about earlier was like the language of lies. So there's a lot of things that have been flipped upside down on its head, and the legal system is certainly one of them. When you look at, again, the war on terror, well, you had the Ku Klux Klan in America. That was the very definition of a terror organization. But then it's okay to basically commit terror, as long as you're not committing terror against the majority of people in that country. So as long as you're just committing terror against the minorities, it's okay. We're going to protect you. In fact, we're going to give you state police protection so you can march and spew your hatred. And they said that's called freedom of speech. So you see how warped that is? They say they protect the Ku Klux Klan's freedom of speech, but yet there's no protection of freedom of speech for like Mark Cuban in the NBA. So you see how these laws are just cherry-picked to apply exactly how those in power want it to be applied, and there's no consistency in the rule of law. And you know, when it turned out that, okay, all of a sudden you have these extremists, which you have extremists in every religion, but you have these extremists in the Islamic world, then, hey, it's a war on terror. No way will we tolerate anything that the Ku Klux Klan did if it's a Muslim that is now perpetrating it. So I hope that logically you can see the points that I'm making, and you have to understand and be able to negate this language of lies that is being propagated upon all of us. Okay, thanks for watching, and as always, remain intensely curious. So long.